Okay, on to the big stuff. So we have this post preview component, and at the moment, it works fine, but we can't click on it. So let's go ahead and turn it into a link. Let's also make sure we import that link component from React router DOM, and then instead of surrounding it with a div, let's surround it with a link. Now, the first thing we should do is give it a to equals, and I'm just going to direct to the home page now, just to make sure everything works. Okay, that's not what I wanted either. Let's go back in here. Let's do the same thing for post preview links. Let's give them all text decoration. You know what? Let's just do that in the app.css. Let's say .app a. None of these should have any text decoration. None. Cool. Now, clicking on these should take us to the home page, and it does. It doesn't take us anywhere because we haven't told it to take us anywhere yet. But what we want to do is we want it to take us to /blog/ the slug of that individual post. And so in here, yeah, we actually didn't change that. Let's leave it what it was. So in this post preview component, we want to say to equals, and we're going to use template strings because it'll allow us to interpolate more easily, /blog/ and then we're going to say the slug of the post.slug. And so then this is going to link to /blog/post.slug. And by doing that, we should now be able to click on this, and it should take us to, what was it called? Something like, it should take us to /blog/second post route. So when I click on this, great. Now we haven't put a component to handle that here, but that's what we're going to do now. But at least it is linking to the proper location. And it's just the same thing here. We get a new post. Great. This is exactly what we want. So we're going to need another page. In this case, we're just going to call this page, let's just call it post, because that's simple enough. Post/post.js. And let's also include a post.css file. And let's write that post. Let's say import post.css and export default function post, and we will say let's not do any of the data fetching now. Let's just render what it should look like. We'll say return a div with a class name equals post, and like all the other pages, let's include a hero for this one. Import hero from hero/hero, and then we'll say hero, and the background image will be the same thing we used in the post preview. We'll just do exactly this, right? But we do need a default image though, so let's go look up another fun, beautiful default image, which is always fun. And it said that's not going to be style, it's just going to be BG image, and we will just pass in either, oh yeah, we did actually just want that string, either the post.cover image or the default cover image. The problem is we don't have a post yet, do we? We have no post. We need to get the post somehow. Now the way we're going to do that is we're going to make an HTTP request to our backend server. Now if you remember how we did it in the application, right here, we just grabbed all of the posts and then we store them there. Now we should probably grab only like the top 5 or so, or something along those lines, but we don't have that many posts for right now, so it's totally fine. Now if this started to get unruly, we'd probably want to paginate that, only select 5 posts here, or probably on the back end would be a smarter place to do that, and then you can request for more if you need them. But here we're only requesting a single post. So we're going to use the same generalized syntax we used before, which is use state, use effect from React, and we're also going to port Axios from Axios. Now we're going to say the post, set post, is equal to use state, and we're going to use a default object here, and then we're also going to have a default cover image as we have before. We should probably call it default hero image because that's technically what it is, and use that here. Now we'll be grabbing that post in a second, but let's just go ahead and fill out the rest of the component first. Let's have some post content. And inside this post content, let's have an h1 that is post.title and a div with a class name equals post body. And we'll add all of the post.content. Now, sometimes I like to do this, just wrap individual content in those empty fragment tags. Again, the only reason to do it is because if we were to save it, it looks like this. If we were to get rid of those, it does this, and VS Code will often wrap that. And I just tend to prefer to see it in a more vertical setting. So you don't have to, but I'm just reminding you why I might do that. And then let's also have the same thing here, which is a post footer and a span. What do we call it before? Published at, something like that. And have, let's import moment for this one here. Did I do the other moment wrong? I probably did. I mess up this syntax all the time. It's moment dot, maybe it's new date, something like that. New date post dot published at, and then dot calendar. I think that's correct. I might be wrong here. This might totally blow up in my face. That's fine. We'll check it out later on. But for now, this should be good enough to at least give us something to work with. So let's import that into our application, into our app component. Import post from dot dot slash post slash post. And then we're going to define a new route here. And this one's going to look a little different. Route path equals slash blog slash colon slug element equals post. Now, does this look familiar? This path parameter is the exact same thing that we use in our API. And so we can now, and well, actually, you know what? We'll get to that in a second, but we're going to save this just to make sure it works. And we're going to grab a new, let's get a different, prettier picture from Unsplash here. Something, apparently the darker ones look a little nicer. Something like, ooh, this is pretty. Let's go with this. That's probably too, you know what? We're going with it anyway. Doesn't matter. We're going to grab it and use that as our default image in our post file. Ta-da! We're going to save it. We're going to head over to our application. And we are going to click on the second post and hope it works. Ah, okay, cool. So I did everything wrong. That's totally fine. The image also didn't work, so I'll figure out, oh, you know what? I know exactly what I did here. We put URL around it, huh? We actually do not want that either. We just want the image itself. That was a silly mistake on my part. Excuse me. And it happens. We make these mistakes all the time, so no worries. Beautiful. Cool. Now, it's spread out. Doesn't look perfect, but you know what? It'll do. And the date isn't there, the post title isn't there because we didn't actually fetch that post yet here. We didn't use Axios, we didn't use UseEffect, but we now have the general layout for our post, and we now have a dynamic route that will allow us to use the post component no matter which of these posts we click on. So if we click on the new post, it'll take us here. If we click on second post, it'll take us here. Both routes now have an actual place to go to, and we have a fully functioning application that we can navigate around with ease. So that's really what we're looking for. We'll do the rest of the functionality in the next video.